Hey guys, it's me. I'm back. I guess I have not made a video for a hot minute. Yes. And today I thought I wanted to make a video. It's golden hour reversed. It's the morning. It's currently like 9 a.m. and the sun is finally wanting to come up. Oh, I just looked directly at it. And yeah, so it's a beautiful morning, and today I wanted to talk about, I don't even know what I want to talk about. That's the thing. I just, wanted to talk a little bit about everything that just flows my boat, I guess. I'm also drinking my coffee, which is very hot. What do I want to talk about? Ooh, okay. So one thing I really wanted to talk about is acceptance. I myself have had a hard time accepting different things and surrendering myself to life and different situations. But I've come to terms with the fact that that is actually just so important to do. Okay, it's kind of annoying that half my face is not in the sun, so I'll sit like this. I came up with the conclusion that actually acceptance and surrendering is so important, at least for me and my journey, because I was just talking to my mom about it, that explaining some of my problems and how I actually saw them in action, how I switched from not having a problem to suddenly having a problem. I've never seen myself switch like that, like thought patterns. But I didn't switch as a person. It was just, my thoughts switched like this to mold into the fears I have. Does this even make any sense? I hope it does. So it was actually kind of fun. I didn't obviously realize it at the moment, but when I looked back, I knew exactly when I switched. And I was talking to my mom about it, and she was like, I think the most important thing you can do right now is just to accept that this is how you are at this exact moment. Because with acceptance come surrendering. Acceptance is equal to letting go, you know what I mean? The problem with self-healing, coming from someone who self-heals, is the fact that we, or I'm not saying we as a generalized term, I say we as myself, I guess, that most people want to look deep down within and do all of these things, and it's good. It's actually good to do that because you learn a lot about yourself and you can let go of maybe resentment you had for someone or anger and all of these things. But the problem with it is that the further down you go in your self-healing journey and the more layers you peel off yourself, the more layers are gonna be created. The ego works in the way that pain only thrives off pain. And when you signal to your brain that, oh my god, wait, I just think I forgave someone in my life and it feels so good, and then your brain is like, okay, wait, sure, but let's make her deal with some more shit. Every time you try to find, solve a problem you have, or try to all of these things, heal from something, there's always, and it does not matter who you are and what you've been through, there will always be more, because your body, and not your body, but your ego is just thriving off that. It's thriving off you having more problems, period, because it's keeping you in the state of maybe fear or anger or sadness, and the ego loves that shit. Now, I don't mind the ego. The ego should be befriended, in my opinion, and not dead. Because we have to keep in mind that the ego is here to, it was here to protect us. When we were younger and we created a lot of patterns or habits or self-soothing mechanisms and all of these things, and the ego was here to, it's like, I'm here, I'm protecting you, and it created these safe spaces for us and created our comfort zones. But now when we're older and we realize that, I'm actually not growing as much as I want to with this ego holding me back and these old patterns and habits holding me back. But your ego wants to do every fucking thing in its power for you to be in the state where you're currently at. Like misery, but depends, I guess, at what level. But it's misery to the fact that you're just a slave to your own ego, you know? And so by accepting the fact that you are where you are and you're okay with it, you're accepting it, you're also surrendering yourself to life. Because I guess if you can't accept it, you can't surrender. And if you don't want to surrender, because it's subconsciously, of course, like you can say I'm accepting or I'm surrendering, but if you can't feel it from the core of your bones, it's not real. The universe does not work with words, it works with energy. If you can't accept or surrender yourself to life or to your current situation, you don't 100% fully have trust in yourself and in life. Okay, now this is a realization I had like yesterday, so it's quite new, fresh in my mind. But fear is like, you're scared something bad is gonna happen to you. But like, why would it? You know what I mean? Like, why? You just lack, now I'm just talking from my experience, this is no generalized thing, it's just for me. I myself just lack, I wouldn't say faith, but just trust in my life and that the universe is working for me, nobody else. It's working for me and to create my life and make me have a good life if I'm willing to, you know what I mean? And so fear is just, you know, the universe is like, bro, stop. And it keeps on bringing people, keeps on bringing me in situations where this fear can be explored and conquered. But if I'm so hung up in this fear and in the ego state, I'm not willing to change. Or maybe I am, but it's scary. Of course it's scary. Now, fear is so scary to overcome. Trust me, I know. But sometimes if we can't be uncomfortable, we just can't grow. I don't know if I said that in my last video, but being uncomfortable is so important. Just honestly stop what you're doing, stop the video, and just be uncomfortable. Do something that makes you uncomfortable, not in the sense, you know, I don't know, if silence makes you uncomfortable, be in silence. Silence was so uncomfortable for me, like a couple of years ago. Now I love silence. I love like the vibe, because I always think, oh no, if it's silent, my mind is just gonna run wild. It doesn't even do that. Sometimes I think about something that happened like a month ago. At the beginning, yes, there was a lot of noise in my head, but that's something you train yourself not to, or you practice not to have. With this whole acceptance and surrendering, you also give the vibe that you just are content with where you are in life. You know that, you know, whatever floats your boat will come across. And also something I heard yesterday that totally like shook me, because I've never thought about it before, that divine timing is not in clock time that we have, like, okay, I will have a boyfriend like 2 months from now, like in divine timing probably, but it works in energy. And I've never thought about it. I don't know how I never thought about it before. It makes sense, of course. The universe doesn't have time. The universe does not have a clock time. It's just a man-made construction, man-made thing we have. So I'm just like, oh my god, true. And like, think about it. The more you resist your present and current moment and accepting the fact where you are and accepting all the things you have in life, accepting the people you have, surrendering yourself. If there's nothing you can do at the moment, then don't do anything. If there is maybe something you can do, try to do it. If not, then okay, it's not the end of the world. But think about it. The more you resist at your current situation, why am my English so bad? The more you resist at your current situation, the more you're pushing the divine timing further away. And then divine timing, I mean, like, if you have dreams, if you really want to achieve something, if you really want to have a new SP or new friends or whatever it may be, you will just push that further away because you're just not aligning with it. You're not energetically on the field of getting those things, and therefore pushing the divine timing further away, or that thing further away. Now this I say as like as a scare and as well as just a reminder, where you put your energy is the utmost important thing you can do, low-key. Because the more you dwell on your past and are scared about the future, the more of that is in your life. Think about that. If maybe one time in your life you were very, very sad, or something happened that made you very sad, or you were very angry at a period of time, think about to back then, or maybe you're in that situation right now. Think about it. The more of those vibes you have, the more of those frequencies you have, the more it's just building up on that. Because again, the ego thrives off pain. And low frequencies, I don't have the chart, I maybe put it in here. The low frequencies are just, they thrive off each other. What I'm trying to say with that is that it's very important to be aware, and that's such a great way to also be present. Be aware of where you put your energy towards. If you are sad today, so the thing is, I'm not saying not to feel the emotions. I guess a very great practice to feel your emotions and not be your emotions is when you feel anger or sadness. Now we're talking specifically negative emotions, because I guess those are just low vibes. If you feel happy, but you can also do this with like good emotions or like good vibes. The way to just feel your emotions and not be them is to physically feel where is the emotion. Don't listen to the thoughts behind them, or try not to. It's a lot easier to do actually when okay, maybe it's a bit hard, depends on where you're starting, but it can be very easy. I think it's simple, but maybe not easy. Huge difference. So when I feel sad, when I want to cry, for example, I first feel it in my nose. My nose feels weird when I want to cry. I don't know what's happening, like chemically. And I just focus on the feeling and allowing myself to cry without really having a lot of thoughts behind it. Or I do, but I don't really dwell on them. I'm just allowing myself to feel the emotion, to feel where in the body is this feeling coming from. As well as with anger, or no, fear. I always talk about fear because I don't really feel angry that much. Fear, if it's like quick fear, is like, if it's like fight or flight fear, I feel that in my tummy. That feels like butterflies to me. But fear is also like, you know, in the chest. And it's all of these bodily sensations that bring you to the present moment. As well as, you know, you are aware and accepting that you have this feeling right now. And you're not wanting to get that away, because eventually if you're not focused on the thoughts behind the feeling will disappear by itself. Because where it gets dangerous is when you dwell on the thoughts behind the feeling. So if you feel sad because you just broke up with your boyfriend, understandable. But if you feel sad and you think about, oh my god, like I miss him so much, like we could be, you know, you just think about maybe the idea that you could go forward in life, or all of these things, it creates more sadness. Because again, say it with me, the ego thrives off pain and pain thrives off pain. That's on that. And so it's simple. I'll use that from now on. It's simple, but it takes practice. It's not easy maybe for some people. Again, depending on where you're starting at. You know, so I really can't say it's easy because it's different for everyone, but it is a simple practice. And it's also a practice to use if you are just so caught up in your thoughts and you're like, how do I get out of this? You know, or maybe you're not even thinking that, but you subconsciously or consciously want to get out of it, but you just don't know what to do. That is such a great feeling, or not a great feeling. That's a great way to practice being present, to just feel what is going on in your body right now. My English is so weird today. Like, what is going on in your body right now? One thing I like to do is to do stuff with my non-dominant hand. So I'm right-handed, so I'll do something with my left hand, because that is kind of, it feels weird because I'm not used to doing that. So maybe I'll brush my teeth with my left hand, or I'll, you know, start with the left boot or sock, or like take my cup with my left hand. Just doing something with my non-dominant hand first, because that throws me off guard and takes me out of the thought cycle, you know what I mean? So now you're in the present moment, because now you're like, wait, that felt kind of weird. And now you, all of a sudden, you don't really have those thoughts. And if they come back, if they creep back in, which they probably will, keep doing that. Keep trying to do something else. Kind of like you have this pillow, try to do like that. Another thing I really like to do is to take a deep breath, like a very deep breath, and hold it for as long as I can, and just blow out. Because with open exhale, that resets the whole nervous system. You know, don't do it until you pass out. I don't advise to do that, but just do it as long as it feels comfortable for you to hold your breath, I guess. Because it feels so nice. You can legit feel it in your whole body, and it feels so nice. You're like a whole new person. So yeah, that's a little bit about like accepting and surrendering. Did I even talk about that? I think I did. So just to recap a little bit, I guess. Accepting where you're at in life. You also get a feeling of like the things your ego makes you think you need, like materialistic things or external things, we'll say. Because a lot of people, me included, think that happiness is in the external world, like people, places, jobs, materialistic things, all of these things. But it's really not. It's really not. Happiness is from within, and you've probably heard it, but like, think about it. Just slowly, like, just kind of like sit back and think about it. First of all, everything is temporary, even you. But at the end of the day, you are the one that is with yourself 24/7. Whenever you sat home, cried about your boyfriend, you were probably alone. And who was there to dry your tears away, or to do that? It was you. And I guess my point is that it's the smallest things that we do for ourselves that is happiness. Those small things we do, like comforting ourselves, it's apparent nature. We are, without us knowing, actually our own parents. And by surrendering and accepting our life situation as it is right now, and not fighting against it, because again, if there's nothing you can do about it, then don't do anything. Don't try to fight against it, because that will only create more of the same vibe. Another thing that I do is just to be like, that's not me anymore. Because at any point in your life, at any point, any moment, any minute of your life, you have the choice to be exactly who you want to be, and identify with exactly what you want to identify with, and like what fears, or if you have mental illnesses, you can from one day to another be like, that's not me anymore. You know what I mean? Because it's not. First of all thoughts related things is not you. And okay, now this is actually something that I'm doing. So, and I've been thinking hard about this. Whenever I've wanted to change in the past, still sometimes now, but it's not me. So whenever I've wanted to change in the past, I felt very unnatural doing so. I felt, oh my god, this is not me, I'm trying to be something I'm not, blah blah blah. And I know I'm not the only one feeling this way. But you have to think about it from a bird's perspective. You, first of all, are not your thoughts. But because you've probably had these thought patterns for years upon years, maybe since you were a little child, and you haven't really done a lot to get rid of old patterns or habits and all of these things. So, and the more you have them, or the longer you have them, the more chemically you produce it, and the harder for you it is actually to get rid of these patterns. It's possible, it's always possible, but it just takes a bit more effort. But let's say you're my age, I'm 20, and you have had these patterns since you were younger, and so like let's say 10 years. It's not that long actually. It is long, but not that long, to the point where you're like, oh my god, ugh. but you get the point. And you have to remember that these patterns are again created in order to protect you, or it's someone who's putting thoughts in your head and all of these things. So they're not really you. How many of your thoughts are actually yours? Think about it. Or your opinions is actually yours. Think about it. You have to break the cycle. I don't remember what I was just talking about, lol. Until you realize that you are not your thoughts, you are gonna be your thoughts, because you're just the observer. It's that easy. And when you start to become present, you are aware of it, that you are actually just the observer, and these thoughts has nothing to do with you. These thoughts are just its own life. It's, you know, and they just come and go and they float away. Okay, think about it. Who is the one aware that you actually are having thoughts right now? When I'm talking, I can hear myself, but who is the one who is hearing it? You know? It's the smallest things, I guess. You still have patterns to break. And I guess by having patterns for so many years and trying suddenly to change your patterns, or to just change your beliefs and be like, you know what, I don't have that fear anymore, I don't identify with her, is a great way, because, in my opinion, because, as I said earlier, it feels very unnatural. It feels like, oh yeah, this is bad. It feels like, okay, wait, this is not me. I feel very fake. But the only reason you feel like that is because you identified with that version of yourself for so many years. And the more we identify with our problems, with our fears, with our lives, with our identity, the harder it is for us to get rid of it. And if we want to change as people, it's hard because it feels unnatural. It feels like, oh my god, I feel so fake doing this. Like, how do people do this? You have to release the attachment to your identity. This is actually a bit hard, and I'm not saying this to scare you, but I'm saying it from my own point of view. When I remember this as it was yesterday. I remember a couple of years ago when I had my struggles, and I was like, you know what, I actually don't want to feel better. Yo, what the fuck? I actually told people I'm fine the way I am. I was not. I just don't want to be better. I don't feel like it. And the reason why I was saying that, it was because I felt like if I didn't have these problems, if I didn't have the struggles I had at that time, who was I gonna be? I had created the idea that these problems I had, these fears, mental illnesses I had, struggles, all of these things was creating me. Yes, it was. You know, I'm not saying it wasn't, but it was creating an identity, a fear-based identity. And because I was so attached to it, which is normal, but because I was so attached to it, it was so easy for me to be like, I'm not getting rid of them. Like, I'm fine. I was not fine, you know? And so it's all about attachment. It's all about, again, accepting, okay, I have struggles. I am aware of that. At this exact moment, I have struggles. I'm not fighting against them. I'm letting them be where they are. But I'm also 100% aware that they are not me. You have a body. You're blessed to be in a body. This body is energetically working as well as chemically working. It's just fucking, if you don't believe in spirituality and if you believe in science, it's scientifically proven that whatever you put your energy towards just grows. Period. It's scientifically proven as well. And so, also having the thoughts, why did my voice do this? I love when my voice do this. It's so funny to me. Having the thoughts that you are your thoughts and you're feeling it to the core of your bones, you will most likely have a very hard time getting rid of it. It's possible. I'm not saying it's not. But what I'm doing is kind of like, again, as I said at the beginning, do something that makes you uncomfortable. Changing who I am, changing my beliefs, my lifestyle, all of these things, and not being my thoughts is uncomfortable. It feels unnatural. it feels like I'm fake. I'm not. I'm stepping into my authenticity. I'm stepping into a higher version of myself. It feels uncomfortable, but if you can't be uncomfortable, you just can't grow. Period, poo, and I'll say it to the day I die. Take it lightly, baby steps, really baby steps, like the smallest steps, because it can be very overwhelming. Whenever I feel like I'm in a situation where I probably would be fearful, I'm like, no, it's not me anymore. I don't identify with that version of me anymore. She was another person, she was in another place in her life, and I'm thankful to have been with her, but we're parted and we're not together anymore. I'm just have oil in my face, I'm not sweaty, don't worry. I guess that's just like the point of this video, is to be like accepting. I guess that's like the whole message of this video, is like accepting where you are in life, surrendering to life, trust the universe. And that can take time. Honestly, it takes time, but it has 100% to do with your relationship to yourself, I guess, to some extent. Because if you feel like you are unworthy of being safe, or you feel unworthy of having a good time and all of these things, you will just attract that. Not that you will be unsafe and all of these things, but you will not attract the comfort that you want to feel, because you send the signal to the universe like, I don't trust you, I don't know what you want to do with me, so I'm not trusting you. And it's not that the universe is like hella pissed at you for that. The fuck. But for your own sake, just accept it. You can resist so much up here, but try to do it as many times as you want to. And be like, sit with yourself, be uncomfortable, and be like, you know what? I'm okay with actually having this fear or mental illness. And I know it's not gonna last forever. I know tomorrow and in 5 minutes is a whole nother life, and I can be exactly who I want to be. Changing your ways is uncomfortable. The Breaking Up the Habit of Being Yourself by Joe Dispenza. But reading that, you get the scientific side of your brain and stuff like that. But again, it is uncomfortable, and it should be. Life is not easy, but it's fun. So that's my little rant for today, and I hope you enjoyed it. And if not, okay, if you did, thank you. And I'll see you in my next video. I don't know what that's gonna be about, but... And I hope you got a little bit out of this video, and if you did, comment down below like what your thoughts about all this is. And yeah, thank you. Bye bye.